Yukendoit's Further Adventures in Japan.
Hello, all you wonderful people, and greetings from scenic The Road out here in Japan. A couple of videos ago, I was at a video game bar and I was asking you guys, what's your favorite video game? And I got a lot of responses. Like, thank you so much. And I started thinking to myself, what's a game that has had a lasting effect on me? And offhandedly, I can think of two of them. One that has gotten a remaster that I'd like to touch on later, and one game that came out in 1996, and when a young Yukendoit put it in his CD drive in his computer, it literally knocked his socks off. That game was Toonstruck, a game that puts the player promptly into a strange cartoon world with one heck of a personality disorder. There's a Disney-fied characters living in the aptly named Cutopia, wacky Tex Avery type characters, and fringe cartoons living in the anything goes world of Zany Doo, and finally a land inhabited by dark, nightmarish creatures in the bowels of Malevoland. You've probably recognized who you play as by now. That's Christopher, don't call me Doc, Lloyd, which you control. Lloyd portrays Drew Blank, a play on words of the character's name and an obvious reference to Mel Blanc, the man who gave most of the Looney Tunes their voices. Blank is a traditional animator. Is that even a job anymore? Who is the lead animator on a show he hates, the Fluffy Bun Bun Show. His boss, Ben Stein, puts the proverbial flyer behind his tuchus to rush more episodes of the show. Drew is overworked, wishing only to be able to focus on his pet project, Flux Wildly, because anything Mr. Lloyd touches for the rest of his life has to somehow be related to Back to the Future. He finds himself magically and cheaply sucked into the world of animation and teams up with his creation Flux to try to find a way back to the real world. He is hastily told that the Malevoland's evil king, Nefarious, who is voiced by the heavy-hitting Tim Curry, has created a machine that will turn all the adorable citizens of Cutopia into wretched horror versions of their former selves. So with a half-hearted promise with help to get home from the king of Cutopia, Drew and Flux help to make an anti-weapon, one that makes evil things cute. To do this, you need to find the opposite materials that are in the weapon. For example, if the evil weapon has sugar, well then you might want to try spice. And this is where the game starts. It's a point-and-click adventure that has you meeting characters, talking to them, learning things to solve puzzles and picking things up, putting them into your bottomless bag until you need them later. The game features beautifully animated scenes, challenging but mostly easy puzzles, and an interesting story. Of course, other than Christopher Lloyd and Tim Curry providing parts in the game, there are a few famous voices smattered in there as well. Flux Wildly is voiced by Dan Castellaneta, who voiced a character in a mostly unknown show that I believe had a short run called The Simpsons. He played a character named Homer. Dom DeLuise plays a six-legged octopus who tries to swindle you. And Fluffy Bun Bun and a couple other characters are voiced by Tress MacNeille, a name that you might not recognize but is famous for playing Babs Bunny on Tiny Toons and Skinner's mother on The Simpsons. There's that show again! As a kid, I really enjoyed playing this game. I was a huge fan of Tex Avery and the classic Looney Tunes cartoons and the new cartoons like Ren and Stimpy, and this does a great job of combining those two worlds. The tone of the game is very strange though, as for the first hour or two of the game you are introduced to sugary, sweet characters, and then thrown into a world of zany, violent, gross-out humor. The sudden shift in tone is almost shocking. The plot may be a reference to how in the 1930s Disney dominated the animation world with lighthearted princess films, and as animation continued to change into the present day of 1996, the subject matter had become a little more violent and graphic. Speaking of graphic, tell me that this is not a toned-down version of Ren and Stimpy.
Note the quality of our genuine synthetic leather.
Through and through, the game has a good sense of humor about itself and its world. Even the dark characters are still pretty goofy. I particularly like this Christopher Walken-esque robot.
One glorious day, I will command an army of death machines, whose primary objective will be to rid the world of all lesser beings. That is to say, everything that is not a machine. Thanks to our superior minds, powerful bodies, and heavy-duty death guns, you and your kind will find yourselves better than the nails that are used indoors.
But the game can turn pretty weird pretty quickly. Take these cute characters that turn into, well, this.
Give it to me!
Wait a minute, there was a horse in here last time and now there's a machine producing glue. I think one of the most understated things about this game is the music, which is mostly stock classical music that you hear in cartoons. Unfortunately, due to copyright reasons, you can hear none of them on here, but I enjoyed listening to humming along to the music and seeing how it fit into the environment. I've been a fan of classical music my entire life, from Mozart, Beethoven, Rossini, Martini, Bikini. You follow me here, camera guy? I know saying, oh, I like classical music is a blanket statement, but I was actually trumping around a famous Parisian cemetery just to find the grave of Rossini. That was pretty cool. The one thing that makes me really sad about this game is that it's relatively unknown. Even though it has a ton of popular actors and has a wonderful story, it really didn't get into the mainstream. It probably didn't help that the box that the game came in looked like nightmare fuel. But this game is crammed with so much content that they had to cut things out. One of the cut sessions can be seen in the trailer with Vincent Van Gogh, who seems to be missing an ear. Maybe because he was cut? He killed himself. It's really sad. There was enough material removed that there could have been a sequel, and rumors did swirl on that burgeoning thing called the internet, but things never came to be. But in the last couple of years, a version of the game has been put up on goodoldgames.com, so an entire new generation of fans can now play this obscure point-and-click game. If you want to play a really great point-and-click adventure with some great cutscenes, fun story, I highly recommend giving Toonstruck a shot. And if you guys like this video, leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content like this on this channel, leave a comment down below. Tell me. As I always say, you can do it, I can do it, we can all do it. You all stay groovy and have a wonderful day. Enjoy the shot of this wonderful road. You know, on second thought, I didn't give Tim Curry the praise that he deserves. I know he's famous for Rocky Horror Picture Show, but he's a huge voice actor. One of my favorite things that he's done is in the show Freakazoid. He played Dr. Mystico in the Island of Dr. Mystico, and he goes a little crazy. I mean, he's known as Nigel Thornberry. I mean, like, literally, he's got such a proficient voice that he's been in, like, so many things. But I'm going to leave in the description below a link to some of the best scenes of Island of Dr. Mystico, because Tim Curry really steals the show. They call me mad, insane, Wendell.